Okay, hi, this is a Facebook update, a video. Just because it would take quite a long time to write all this stuff down. And there was some debate about this today, which I think was worth clearing up online. And I want to talk about a dream that I had during the shutdown and how I interpreted that, and try and weigh up its accuracy, because it was quite a point of debate at the time. And it's good to, in prophetic things, review them and test them and see, was this really God? Was this really genuine? Now, I had a dream, which I think I had on the 3rd of April, and I'll put the documentation up with this video. Right in the early days of the shutdown, when it was all darkness and terrors, and basically Europe was shut down and several of the countries around the world, and nobody really knew what was happening in terms of things reopening. And I had a dream, I didn't have a clear sense where this was all going or how long it was going to last or whatever. And I dreamt on the 3rd of April, and this is what I dreamt. I dreamt that I was out with a friend of mine and we were on Park Street in Bristol. It seemed quite sunny, and what surprised me in the dream was the sense that the shops were open, and this was kind of an established sort of thing. And in the dream, at the time I sort of interpreted it was her birthday, but I suppose it could be in a few days afterwards. And I was certainly trying to buy something for this person's birthday. And as we were walking down the shops on Park Street in Bristol, which is a cosmopolitan centre of the city, I say to her in a dream, it's a friend of mine from church, let me buy you a book. Is there a book you'd like to choose? And we pass an open bookshop. Bear in mind, at this point in the shutdown, this would be the epitome of a non-essential shop. It was only Tesco's and things that were open. And I think I went in there with her, and there was a sense that social distancing was part of the ambience when we were in this shop. Bear in mind, at this point when I had the dream, social distancing was quite a new thing. And she paid with a card. And when I came out, I offered her some cash for what she'd bought, and I didn't give her the cash. I sort of slid it in her bag and said, keep the change. And then we sort of walked down the street, and that was pretty much it. I don't remember much else happening in the dream than that. And when I woke up, I called this friend up and said, when is your birthday? And check it out. And she said it was June the 6th. So I was quite startled by this dream, and I thought, is this showing a timing of when, some commerce and some shops would be open? And I put it on Facebook. I think I made reference, if you look in the original reference, I make reference like having a coffee and things like that. But there was that didn't happen in the dream. There was nothing showing in the dream about hospitality opening up. I may have jumped ahead a bit on that. It really just showed me going into this bookshop. And what I interpreted was that also maybe the use of the card would be that society would be a bit more cashless after this time. And giving her the money and saying keep the change made me feel that there'd be still something. I think it was a £20 note in the dream I gave her, that there'd be still something that would be there to be enjoyed for the rest of the year. And I put maybe about a week or so after that, I think I put the dream on YouTube. And to prove its authenticity, I put a screenshot of the original Facebook update on that. And this has sort of come up in debate on Facebook in the last couple of days, so I want to sort of try and do a more detailed thing on it here. And obviously I really watched through May and June to see, when are things going to open up? And I think as I look on the original YouTube thing that I sort of uploaded, I was more like it'll be June the 6th if this dream is right. People that I worked with at the time, and this is like in April, May, I began saying to them, I believe that the shops are going to open up in early June. I didn't always say June the 6th. I said early June, June the 6th. I probably was a bit like, I think June the 6th. And so obviously I watched as this date appeared. And the interesting was when I shared with people about like shops opening up early June, virtually everybody said no chance, that there's just no way that's going to happen, because I guess the media was so so bleak at the time. And also bear in mind, when I had this dream, no country had done lockdown. Even China hadn't come through its lockdown yet. I checked the dates. China was not out of lockdown on April the 3rd. I think it was about 4 or 5 days later. And there was no obvious pattern anyway. And certainly the whole of Europe was just locked down, as far as we knew, indefinitely until this thing sort of clearly lifted off. And so I've been trying to process back, like how accurate was this dream? And I do believe it was a really accurate dream. I think that probably I was a little bit of a stickler on this June the 6th thing, because I think that a dream can show a basic timing in a way that makes sense to me. You could say, well, if the dream was from God, why didn't it just say June the 15th? How do you know it's from God? Well, I think dreams often from God can have like a figurative, slightly mysterious element that cause you to investigate, and they can often be more like an impressionistic sort of sketch rather than a photographic micropixel sort of detail. It showed me at a time, certainly when I didn't know where the country was going, there'd be a time when things would reopen, and it would be early sort of June. And as it was, the shops reopened on the 15th. And I went on to Park Street on the 15th, and there was a bookshop actually open. Though obviously the coffee houses and everything weren't open. But the basic flow of commerce was happening from that time. And you could say, well, that dream was inaccurate. I mean, some of us said that, but I would say it was easily accurate enough, because it showed basically, I was often saying to people early June, and they were like, how do you know this? How do you get this sense of this? It's like, I'm really sure that it's going to be this time. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So I think to be 7 or 8 days out is well within an acceptable accuracy. I mean, there was some debate on Facebook earlier, because I made an update yesterday about the shop that I actually put at the time that I had the dream. I think I wrote on Facebook, shops open start of June. Well, there's actually a week before what I saw in the dream. Actually, they opened up a week after. And it's like that. You're feeling your way along. You don't, unless an angel turns up at the bottom of your bed and tells you everything in exact detail. A dream is from God to make you ponder and make you search things and show you things in a sort of impressionistic way, but still be accurate. I mean, I think 8 days out is well within the accuracy for opening or shutdown. And so as I reflect on it, I think that it was right. I believe it's a prophetic dream, and people want to argue about that. That's up to you, but I think open your heart and allow a little wonder in there, because God's outside of time and show the future. And what's been really interesting is when I've spoken to people at sort of, gosh, it's gone dark here. When I've spoken to people at work and friends who I'd shared that dream with all those thoughts with, they're like, yeah, you're basically right. And because it's on YouTube, I can actually point people towards it. And it's interesting, the people that I've shown who are mainly non-Christians in recent weeks about this, one of the guy who works at the PMT music shop, he looked it up online, and he was absolutely blown away by it. My hairdresser was totally blown away by it. And he texted me back and said, "Hey, Nostradamus," but I stressed, I'm not by nature a particularly psychic sort of person. I believe this dream was true, and if you want to challenge that, you're welcome to try in the comments. But you're going to struggle to get this out, because I think 8 days is well within the ballpark. I mean, if it's like a month out or more than that, then fair enough. So the Bible says God speaks in a dream in the night, and this was a time I felt I had some intuitions prophetically about what was going on in the COVID, but I had no idea when things were going to open up. And it also was useful because I was able to share with some people at the time who worked in shops or worked in that line of business, and shared that dream with them, and it seemed to bring them some comfort and optimism, sort of, I think, in sort of April and May. So this is to encourage you, is you can peruse all this. I'll put it with the update, and that God is speaking, and God is showing us timings. I don't have any other timings at the moment, but that dream, I think, was true and was accurate. I perhaps, in the way I interpreted it, I might have taken a few missteps, getting a bit too uptight about the actual June the 6th, or bringing coffee into it, or imposing my own desires on it. But the dream, what it showed me, was accurate, and I trust it, and it was a special thing. And obviously at the time, it didn't seem clear that was the way it was going. So I just want to encourage people that you can ask God to speak to you in a dream, and He will sometimes. But also as well, when you get a dream from God, understand it's sometimes a bit of an impressionistic sketch, and it's not always exactly the way it seems, but you can trust that. So, I don't know, I'm just sat by my record player now. I think I'll play us out with a little song. I've just been listening to this on my turntable. The Bible says God speaks in the night, in a dream. When man lies on his bed and the hours pass. I don't know, maybe God might speak to you in a dream tonight and drop something into your consciousness, or a song. I've got songs come to me in dreams. I've had sometimes conflicts been solved in dreams. You might even dream that you're arguing with somebody, shouting at them and saying the worst possible things to them, but actually you're working that through in a dream when you might have said it in real world, in real life. So my prayer for you is that God will speak to you in a dream, show you your future, and help you through life.